I'm just going to start
When
the
he
show.
says when he says see you on YouTube, just
We're literally on YouTube. Hello, YouTube.
Yeah, beautiful.
We're starting the show, but this won't
oh
be in the
you
replay.
you actually sent me links. Sorry, there needs to be a
Hello, Brad here. Welcome to the Gig Based Learning Weekly Jam. It is Term 4, Episode 5, 2023, and this is the season finale. So we have lots and lots of plans to share today. And in case you're wondering, it's the Weekly Jam, but a very special one because this week, check this out, it's Festivus. Yes, happy Festivus, and this will be Festivus for the rest of us. So a bit of a different show today, and to help with our Festivus, hello.
Hey Brad, nice to be here. Never done this before, guys. We're bringing in the community. Very exciting and sharing with each other, finishing off the year.
Hooray. And so, turns out, Peter, I'll just run us through a couple of things. So, Festivus has some rules, and the first rule is decorate the Festivus pole, and that's it there on the right. The rule is it has to be an aluminium pole affixed to a wooden stand, tick, and that is fully decorated. Next, host a Festivus feast, and so I'll come back to that in a minute. Number 3, proclaim your Festivus miracles, participate in the airing of grievances, and hold a feats of strength competition. So, for point number 2, host a Festivus feast. Well, first of all, let's drink and be merry. Cheers. I would move closer, except my cup might runneth over. It's very full, and I've just noticed how shaky I am. Just a
Yes,
quick...
I mentioned the community, Brad, and
Yes.
if you're in the community, you're where am I?
That's good.
I need more light at the front for a product showcase, but it
Yeah.
says I'm with the band. So we've got
Hooray.
people in the band who talk to each other and talk to us, and so we're
So,
welcoming them to the stage today.
so that's the imbibing of beverage tick. Just wanted to shout out to the cup makers, and this is a very special cup. It's a commemorative cup, and the Gig Based Learning Cup remembers every drink you've ever had by just colouring the mug the colour of the drink. And over time, this white mug on the outside becomes a really interesting, would you call it a patina colour on the
Yeah,
inside? So it's literally a commemorative mug. It remembers it remembers every drink you've ever had. Some people might call that a design flaw, but I think commemorative mug, it's pretty cool. So going back to the rules, you'll see hold a feats of strength competition, and so part of my feasting is I brought a... Oh, look at that. I brought a protein bar.
yes.
So to prepare for later on the feats of strength, I'll be supping on a protein bar. And that should get us through. But mostly today, we want to focus on want to focus on, so that's the feast. We want to focus on proclaiming our Festivus miracles and participating in the airing of grievances. We'll see how the strength bit comes on. So that's that. Is that okay, Pete?
Amazing.
But we can't do this alone. So typical
No.
Brad and Pete, we invited lots of people, and Jacob showed up.
Hey, Jacob.
Hello.
Here I am.
So we'll talk to you as we go through. So Jacob's going to co-host the show with us today. We're very excited, and I can't stop. I have to stop and just acknowledge the upper third, and the upper third with the. I'm just loving the bling around the Festivus pole. It's pretty special.
It's a nice touch.
And so, just when you thought it couldn't get any better, look.
Hey,
Hey,
Jacob.
Festivus for the rest of us.
Original GBL. Check this out, Jacos. Happy Festivus to you.
Oh, thank you.
So glad you could make it. So,
Yeah, oh my God, I kind of forgot, to be honest, and then in a matter of minutes I'm here. So, yeah.
that is the weekly jam way. Completely forget that it's on and then make a mad rush to get here. Yeah, good. You're in the spirit of Festivus. That's really exciting and cool. So, all right, we'll go on with celebrating the miracles and airing our grievances. But before we do that, I just wanted to let you know that I've got some of this going on. And just wanted to share a little bit of bradagogy with you, if I might. And check this out. We spent a lot of time. I wonder if this will work. Yes, I think it will. Look at that. It's us plus my Mac, and I've just given the show away. Oh, that's you, Pete.
Yep, that's my Mac.
That's your Mac. I didn't actually make a scene for us and my Mac. Just give me all right. Check this out. I just want to talk to you about where I'm at with bradagogy. So you guys just have a little rest. I got you. I'll take care of this. So this is the end of the world as we know it. Oh, Pete, there you are. Sorry, fellas. We'll get you back in a second. Then check it out. So bradagogy, we're calling it a blogcast because it's a blog and a podcast. And I've been talking a lot about trying to establish the foundations for us that Pete and I have had these discussions in our classroom over the last 10 years. And through the blogcast, we want to share it with you so that we can have a foundation for our conversations as GBLers. And so I've been talking in the blogcast a lot about the education multi-world. And so I want to bring it to a close with the season finale. And this is pretty fun. So I've made a clip show. And a clip show, it became pretty bloomin' famous when The Simpsons decided that they would do a clip show. So in classic me mode, this is all part of the blogcast. I've gone off on a tangent and tried to hip everybody onto this whole idea of what a clip show is. And there's a really fun, when writers run out of ideas or you run out of money, you do a clip show. And that's where you just stitch together a whole bunch of clips from the season. And then also thought we should have a cliffhanger. And there was this, when I was young, there was this classic show called Dallas, and they almost broke the internet, except it wasn't invented yet. If the internet was invented, this would have broke the internet. Who shot JR? I can't even tell you. Everybody in the world was talking about it, and you couldn't do anything about it because they hadn't shot the next season yet. So we had to wait for a long time. So in this version of our clip show, I talk about why we're doing it, because we probably haven't really. And I've just found it really, I know, okay, so this might be, we're not up to narcissistic news yet, but I've just found it really valuable to have myself in my ear when I go jogging around the lagoon and listen to the podcast and go, oh yeah, that's really important to me, and I'm glad, and using it to remember, and part of my reflective practice. And so I'm trying to make this available for us as gig-based learners so that we can jog around our lagoons, whatever your lagoon happens to be, and you're jogging, and listen to this and think and remember and lock in our foundations. And there'll be plenty more foundations to come. And so as I was thinking about all of that, I always think, wouldn't it be great if you could just, when you listen to a podcast, wouldn't it be great if you could just lock down the important bits from the season? So that's the idea of this clip show. And so over the course of however many, I think this is episode 9 or something like that. So over the course of the last 8 episodes, turns out that there's been lots of neologisms and trademark phrases. So check this out. So we've got Say That Word Second, TM, the Elmer Fudd Effect, TM, the Education Multiworld, TM, the Worldview X-Ray Vision, TM, and Bradagogy, TM. That's just in one season. So I wanted to capture that. We've even got our Bradagogy figure, and then, that's the trademark phrases. But we've also interrogated a bunch of other ones. So these are the adopted phrases. So we've got all of that, either or's, stealthiest, sliding into philosophy, which I think is my favorite one. Talking about disambiguation, etymology. We have to know who D and M are. The cats, historical amnesia, the septum circumstantiae of classroom music education, clouds of ideas and assumptions. Even talk about worldview paradigms, frames, metaphors, and then this one, which is going to be really important to us going forward, cascade of entailments. And I talk in the last blogcast, I think, about if we think in the education multi-worlds, there are different approaches to what is knowledge, what is learning, what are learners, and then what is teaching. And so here was a cascade of entailment. Knowledge is an object, leads to learning is acquiring, because you acquire an object. Therefore, learners are repositories, and that cascade leads to the prescription that teaching is depositing objects into imperfect receptacles. And then also part of this is to just capture our foundational quotes. And a lot of people have said, gee, you quote a lot. Yes. And the reason is I want to have these. I try to have these in my mind at all times, which is why I can sometimes forget where I parked the car. But I can remember these foundational quotes. So that's been another part of that as well. And why haven't you published yet, Brad? I'm glad you asked, because this is the final heading, write something deep and or meaningful to end. And I haven't yet, but I will.
You'll
Probably.
take either deep and / or. It's great.
Yeah.
I like you've obviously gone so deep with your PhD for the last, half a decade. And what you're providing for us is a summary of a whole bunch of cats and what they've said, and then mixed in with your experience into something simple. And then now you're even going a step further of summarizing your summary. So it's just extra layers of the onion, which is really helpful for me, and I hope other people too.
Yeah, and so hopefully it'll be that tip of the iceberg kind of approach, right? Where you can just go, oh, we're sliding into philosophy, but knowing that there's eight blogcasts which represent 8 years of study of lots and lots of cats. And so hopefully, though, if we just say, okay, we're sliding into philosophy now, then we can go on, we can get on with it, And so I'm quite excited about all
Which
of
is
that.
the rule of engagement that we talked about, and just other communities that we've been a part of. There hasn't been any of those rules of engagement where you have common language sets and understandings.
Yeah, that's right. And if you're going to say something, before you say something, you should know what's already been said on a topic, which is where the cats come in, and weaves into the septum circumstantiae and etc. And so to just nail down sliding into philosophy and remembering that if we don't nail down the why and the who, Aristotle said that leads to deep sorrow and regret. And so it's really important for me because I've had moments in teaching of deep sorrow and regret. And I realize now that I could have ameliorated. I'm not saying I could have maybe had shallow sorrow and regret if I would have had a better answer to the why and the who. So I'm pretty bloomin' passionate about it. And to come back to the cascade of entailments, where I'd like us to go is to substitute knowledge for what is music, and watch out because that leads to a cascade of entailments. What is music, and then what is education, and what is a person? And when we can have different answers. So, man, can you imagine like the number of forks in the road? What is music? And so if you go, well, of course, music is the dots on the page, right? Which is what music is if you try to get copyright for your song. What are it's dots on the page? Then you'll go off this way. So then what is education? Well, education is teaching people about the dots on the page, right? And then and who are persons? Well, and then it gets even heavier after that, right? So just those three things lead to a cascade of entailments, and which is why right back at the start of the blogcast, I was talking about the umbrella of the education multi-world. So music education rests within an education multi-world, right? And so we've already got that cascade of entailments about what is knowledge, what are learners, what is teaching. But then we've got what is music, what is education. And so we can go off on so many different tangents. And like we've talked about again in the blogcast, that can be nonsensical when one person from one world talks to another person from another world. Then your thoughts and ideas can sound nonsensical to a person from another world. And if we can, like we've always talked about, Pete, if we can bring that into the light and we can just go, you're from a different world. I have much to learn, right? And we globalize the education multi-world, and all of a sudden we can learn from each other and we can have conversations. That's the idea. So there you go. Yeah. So that was, I haven't put up our lower third yet. That was Bradygogy behind the scenes. And for your enjoyment / whatever the heck. There you go.
I just want to say, even though we talked about making your own agogy, and I think mine was like Jacob Agogy or something, I'm almost tempted to just call it Bradagogy at this point, because I've heard it so much now, it's just become its own word. I almost want to have a Bradagogy. I don't care about a Jacob Agogy. I want Bradagogy, you know?
That's really it's got levels. So that's the cool thing, right? And so because you have to, you can't, ideally though, right? You'd slide into philosophy and you go, yes, I dig it, but and then because it's what's already been said on a topic, right? Like I'm just jamming with the cats, like I say, right? I've taken stuff, I've told you guys about it. Then we as a community start riffing on it and go, okay, that's really interesting. And then somebody goes off and reads something and goes, but, and then all of a sudden, you know, and then you've got your own experiences and stuff. Because don't forget that if we go back here, Bradagogy, remember there's that sweet spot in the middle where it's Brad plus pedagogy becomes the craft of Bradagogy. And so you can't do Bradagogy because you're Jacob, you see? And it's when you put you plus pedagogy and in that middle bit. Let's have a look. We better have a look. it's important. Brad, pedagogy. And so you can fold my stuff, right? So the idea, and I think we've got down here, you can fold my stuff in, but pedagogy is the science, pedagogy is the art, and then in the middle, the way you bring it together, Jacob, I guess
Mm-hmm.
then my bradagogy becomes part of this bit over here. It's a bit science, it's a bit
Okay.
art, but then you go into your classroom and you try it out with your people, and you're you and they're them, right? And that's where the craft comes in, because see here, it's a full repertoire of skills, practices, and ways of describing the relationship of teaching and learning. So that combines us. It's a science and an art that has to be, and it's something that has to happen in real time. And it's an interaction between you and your people. So there you go. So I offer bradagogy for you to fold in as I've folded in, right? Like D&M and Rajelski and the cats and my own experiences and stuff to get to where we're at.
And it might be an adaptive model there in terms of the size of the boxes. Like I'm just thinking through my head live here that
Nice.
like for me as Pete, as like 2013 first year art teacher, the pedagogy box is quite thin.
Yeah,
Like
that's right.
I'm taking what the head teacher's telling me, what I've learned at university, and my limited experiences as a young 20-year-old. But then as I grow, like you've got 20, 30 years of experience, Brad, that we don't have. And so yeah, but over time it just grows, and as we reflect upon the science and the art and then bring that together, it's
Yeah, and that's the really important part, that it doesn't grow unless. So if we're going to go with an ecological metaphor, right? You got to tend, you got to tend to it, and do all of the things that a gardener would do to your pedagogy. Otherwise, you just come into the classroom and do the same thing over and over again, leading to deep sorrow and regret, right? And so that's where I think I've got lots of frameworks and models and stuff that I've been interacting with, about, and I think starting with the TPAC model, where this idea of knowing your content, knowing about music, knowing about approaches to teaching and learning music, and then knowing about technology and the affordances of technology. And so it's a Venn diagram, right? And there's this sweet spot in the middle. And so to me, it seems like our job is to just make that sweet spot bigger and bigger as we go. So as we grow each one of those circles, hopefully that target in the middle gets easier to hit. And so we're increasing the size of our bullseye. Because you walk into the classroom, which is what you're talking about, Pete. You walk into the classroom and your repertoire of options as a pedagogue is limited, right? And so you go, okay, I'm going to run through the 5 options I've got here. And they don't work, But then you add that 6th one, and that's the one, But until you get this, if you didn't know about the 6th one, you're not going to get there. And so that's why it's so important to keep growing our pedagogical knowledge and our knowledge of music, because and I think those two, right? Like the TPAC model was called the PCK model first, the pedagogy and content knowledge, and there's just a sweet spot of I know my stuff and I know how to help people. You put those together and kapow. I know lots of stuff and I know lots of ways to help people. Bam. And then somebody went, oh, technology's pretty helpful. And then, oh, I know about lots of technology, and oh, I know lots about teaching, and I know lots about music. And then all of a sudden, oh, so if I had an iPad, whoa, imagine what I can do. So, but if you didn't know there were iPads, you see, how would you know? So the first step is finding stuff out, and then the next step is trying it out. And yeah, so got lots of other models that, because when you go, okay, what pedagogies are there? Oh, that's a good point, and how would I know? So we just need lots of help. But if we just take out, we've got our whole career, right? We've got our whole lifetime of enlarging those circles. It's going to be okay. But somebody has to tell us there's circles. And so that's why we're here. There's circles. And it gives us a reason to get out of bed, I think, because there's always something more to learn. Isn't that exciting? It's like somebody just dropped something on Spotify or YouTube and it's changed music. Or somebody did it way back in the day and we didn't even know. I was just listening to a story about Paganini. Just got so excited about learning more about Paganini. He died ages ago, but he's not dead to me yet. He's very alive because I just heard about some stories. Anyway, edit.
That's good. I think for me, that whole getting up in the morning is really important, and why we've created the jam, so we can just jam off each other and help in community. I think it's the future. We're hoping it's the future where we can just talk to each other and help in those dark times, and also celebrate the miracles, which we'll get to today, Brad.
Yeah. So, well, let's see if we can smash through. Check this out. So I've just got a couple of things to share with you. Some cool stuff has happened, and check this out. GBL news. So we'll get on to narcissistic news in a moment, but I just wanted, speaking of TPAC, I just wanted you to know that Ableton 12 just dropped. And whatever music you make, whoever you are as a music maker, there's always more to explore. See how you can go further or farther. All right, so there's that one. And then just when you think, all right, I'm switching to Ableton, Apple said,
Yes.
Wait a second. We're going to update Logic Pro. And this is something that Pete and I have been doing a lot of. We've been asking our students to drop their tracks onto virtual mastering for a while now. And if a student submits stuff to me, I can't help myself. I pop it into BandLab mastering, which, speaking of, I'll just take you there now. It's amazing. If you haven't got, so look at that, drag and drop, and then you say, I'd like it to be universal, fire, clarity, or tape. You can hear it in real time and download it, and it is amazing. And the cool thing is that your students, when you do it, you can learn a lot about mastering, and you can click a lot of buttons here and find out, look at this, mastering your music, how to do it. It's amazing. And so if you have a particular view of music that it is dots on a page, you probably won't get that excited. But if you have a broader view of what is music, then this is pretty exciting. And yeah, so boy, you can just go mad learning about mastering and stuff there. But tangent, Pete, I'm sorry, because that's what we had done. But then, and it uses AI. And then, so we would master as best we could in Logic and then drop it onto BandLab sometimes and some other ones. But now you just press this button up here and say what sort of character you want. You can, and then you come down here and say analyze. And
Do you want to have a look, Brad?
Here's one that Peter prepared earlier. Chaps, come and have a look with us.
Just as an aside,
Yes.
why wouldn't you just drop the tagline uses AI on just about everything now? Even if it doesn't, I feel like you could just get away with it.
Yeah,
uses
no one's
AI.
going to check.
No.
Yep.
So this is it. This is Logic Pro, guys. And I've just dropped in an unreleased track. I'm not allowed to play it. I'll get in trouble. But there it is. It's actually mixed, ready to go, but it hasn't been mastered. So perfect example. And so when you drop it in, you've got this little mastering thing that automatically appears on the master channel. And there's a little dialogue block. And I'm just going to bring it into a section here. Cool. And when you click play, it does things. You can reanalyze section. Let me do a little section. Reanalyze section, creating mastering chain.
There you go. And so I think the benefit of this, right, is pretty sick. That yes, it does it for you. So purists hate that, but it does it for you. But it shows you what it's doing, and you can learn stuff. And for the first time that I, as far as I'm aware, we can now see LUFs on the top right there, or kind of not top right, LUFs, and that's for people publishing to Spotify and YouTube and Apple Music. Getting your LUFs right is massively important, and so that's incredible. And so that's essentially it. But that's what mastering people do, and well, that's, I think, as far as GBL news goes, we just wanted to say that Logic has updated, and that's the big feature. But there's some other cool ones as well. So if you're a Logic user, check that out. If you're an Ableton user, interestingly, we got an email, Pete, that Ableton is doing things for special webinars for music teachers. So you can do a Zoom, I think. So get in contact with Ableton if you're an Ableton person. Just trying to see if we got an email to GBL about it. And I think it's on tomorrow. So if you're watching this live or similar to live, and you've been in contact with Ableton, you have a look in your emails, because they're doing a launch tomorrow for music teachers. Okay, so that was that. Questions, comments, observations, co-hosts?
Have we confirmed if you can access maybe? I know at my school we can only access the BandLab education on our network, and that is slightly limited. The students can't actually collaborate, as far as I know, on it, except with me. So
Right.
I'd be interested if that's been blocked somewhere on the Department of Education's nifty thing they do, blocking certain awesome resources. Because I believe if it falls into if they can chat and collaborate through certain programs, it gets red flagged really easily.
Yep, we can't have that.
Want that, do we? So yeah, I might tomorrow try that out and see if I hit a wall or not, and let you guys know, just for interest's sake.
That'd be really good. And because we're live on YouTube, if anyone has any insight into BandLab, and particularly BandLab mastering, we'd love to know. And if I never worry about a link, because I like the young people. I just type BandLab mastering every time I need it into a search engine, and it seems to go there pretty quickly and easily. So, all right. So there's our GBL actual news that we've got. Ableton Live 12, Logic Pros updated with AI mastering, and we talked about BandLab mastering as a great resource as well. Speaking of, Jacos, what is your app of choice for recording and stuff?
In the classroom, using BandLab, definitely.
Okay. And what about a desktop DAW? Do you do anything in desktop DAWs like Logic, Ableton, etc.?
Yeah, we use Logic in our little studio, and I think it's just been a personal preference, really.
Yeah.
And it's maybe just what I was brought up using, I guess. Yeah.
Yep.
But I have a lot of students who use FL Studio as well, so yeah. And we got a lot of students who use GarageBand because it's so accessible, I guess. So
Yep.
we're kind of all over the place. But personally, I'm a Logic guy. Yeah.
Yep. Cool. I've been thinking a lot about you just need, as a teacher, you just need to be encouraging, don't you? Because everybody's got their thing. I was thinking about Bitwig. is having a moment. A lot of people getting excited about Bitwig, and I've seen lots of. I think Reaper has made a surge and just done an update as well. Yeah. So speaking of, what's your news on doors and recording, Jacob?
Um, I haven't had a chance to use a whole lot here. We've had GarageBand a couple of times, nice and easy to use for the most part. I would definitely like to get Logic because, yeah, I've always grown up on Apple, so Logic is really familiar. And I
Yep.
just like the way it's like. It's a very clean interface to me, like clean UI.
Yeah.
Everything seems like where it should be, at least for me. Um, the eventual plan, there's another building, just a small building called the band room. Our long-term plan is to turn that into a studio space. So I would love to get Logic for that space particularly. But similarly, I've got kids who work on FL Studio on their laptop, and I've got this one kid who already does a bunch on Ableton. What does he make? He makes like, it's like jungle beats, I think they're called. It's like
Yep.
like in house music. Like he does stuff like that, and he's awesome at it.
Yeah,
So I would
jungle
like to get
for sure.
more door work done, especially next year with a big class. So, and they're a really, really capable class coming into year 9 next year. So I want to get way more involved in that.
Yeah. Cool. We found that just being we're probably often not the best person in the room at that particular door. And at any given time in our music classroom, I'd say, Pete, we probably had a good 6 or 7, 8, probably 8 doors in the wild at any given time. Would that be right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Easy, right?
And for us, it was all about the gig. So we didn't really care as long as we could support them in some way with it. So, yeah, you mentioned Fruity Loops or FL Studio, Jake, and that was like we both look at that and go, "What the heck?" Because it wasn't in our wheelhouse, but we're able to ask the right questions, and I think that's the role of the teacher is like transferring our own knowledge of whatever DAW we've used in the past to talk a similar language and not necessarily helping them operate specifics. We've got YouTube for that, but we can talk music with them and talk workflows. And have you thought about this? Or I really love that type of thing and just navigating it that way.
Yeah, and I think there are
Yeah, totally.
just like there's musical universals, right? There's door universals and recording universals that give us a place to start for dialogue, like on the grid, off the grid. Where's the play button? Where's the record? The transport functions and scales and keys. Is it going to be what sort of tuning system? Have you? What's your gain structure? All of those questions, what's your gain structure? How many
For
tracks are
me,
you
it's
going to make?
what's the keyboard shortcut to split a clip? That's it
Yes.
for me. It's like, all right, cool, new program. What's the keyboard shortcut?
Yeah,
Is it S? Is
absolutely.
it T? Is it Command T? What is it? Yeah.
And then the next question there is, because most of them now have shortcut mapping, and you can go to preferences and say make the shortcuts like my favorite door. Now I'm always thinking,
Yeah.
that kind of, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Like that feels like you could get going quickly, but it also feels like you're kind of missing the whole logic underneath. Pardon the pun. Like the programmer's logic underneath. They go, I reckon this is the best keyboard shortcut for that workflow. And probably that's another thing, another conversation that we should be having with our students is workflow. That's critical, right? And then, which gets us to the question we've just had now: have you mastered it? Whoa! So all of those questions we can be really good at, and I think for me, being able to go deep on one app, and I think for me it's Logic. I've been just like you guys. I've been in Logic my whole life, so I understand that, and so that gives me a way of understanding the other things as well. Yeah. Okay. Cool. But speaking of, we did just talk about GarageBand, and I just wanted to say that. What if I told you it didn't have to be GarageBand anymore just because you're on an iPad? And you might not be aware, everyone in the world, that Logic Pro now comes for iPad, asterisk, depending on how much money you've paid for your iPad and how old it is. But it actually, now you can watch a film. It actually does, I think, most of what Logic Pro on Mac does. And it actually got some of these new features that have just come to the Mac before the Mac. Whoa. So, and it's got, because it's a touchscreen, it's got some sick things, and you can use your Apple Pencil and stuff as well. So it might be, you might not have access to Macs around the place, but you might be able to get access to iPads, which gets you into the Logic ecosystem. Asterisk, subject to budget, subject to your IT guy, subject to, yes, is it Chris Minns, our premier at the moment? He might have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He seems to have opinions on things. Anyway, all right. So that's news. Is that all right?
I got something related to Jungle House, Jacob. I just
Yep.
listened to a podcast on Tape Notes, and Tape Notes is hosted by some English producer. I can't remember his name right now, but he had an interview with Major Lazer, and he's delved into Jungle House, and in particular a style that comes out of South Africa called Amapiano. And the rules of Amapiano is it must include a log drum beat. So everyone uses the same log drum beat, just at different tempos, and they just go deep with the same sort of stuff. So I'm not sure if I can.
Is that it, Pete?
That's your screen, I think.
Yeah, that's the one. Diplo. Is that right? Major Lazer from Tape Notes.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice job.
Cool.
Thanks, producer.
tapenotes.co.uk, etc. And plus you can read it on the screen. Cool.
I felt like I was on Joe Rogan or something, and you have a man that looks up things for you and puts them up.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I thought I'd have a crack while you're at that.
Thanks. Not that I watch Joe Rogan, just for the record. So that's really interesting that Jungle House is becoming a thing with young people, and I think it might be because Major Lazer is into it as well. So
yeah, interesting. Man, this is amazing. We just started off with
Right.
By the way, I'd just really like to do this. If you've just tuned in, happy Festivus. This is the final weekly jam of the term and of the year. And this is us. And we've got, down the bottom, we've got Jacob and Jake Oss. And that's Peter up the top. And so that, and if you've just
did I
joined
just
us,
hear someone else coming in? Was that the chime? Was someone entering?
I dropped out.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I got one more AI thing. I don't know if you've mentioned it. I know I've been.
Oh, hang on, stop, wait a second, because
I'm ahead of myself.
Yes.
Robot Roundup, AI news for music education.
Jacos is gonna take the reins. I love it. Can you flip to Jacos? What do you got for us, mate?
Amazing.
Have you guys heard of Moises for taking tracks? Yeah, big nod the heads. I was blown away by how good the quality has been using that. Basically, for HSC drummers, but yeah, it's amazing.
Wow, tell us what's your application of it? What are you doing with it? What's it doing for you?
I'm basically making drumless tracks for drummers, because I'll get a student who picks a really gnarly song. I want them to do it. We're not going to pull an ensemble together for it. It's going to take a long time for the other players to do that, and they haven't even picked it for their own repertoire. So it's just been basically taking drumless tracks into my own hands, I guess, where before that was doing a deep dive and hoping for the best, that there was something out there. Now it's just at my fingertips. And I was just blown away by the quality that was maintained, because I've done it before where I think the programs, I forget the names of them, but it must have just cut out the frequencies that they thought the drums would have been. And you can hear that it's taken out other frequencies that we still want in the song. So, yeah, I figured you guys probably had heard about this one, but just I don't know if there's any application beyond that you guys have used it for, really. Like,
Well, yeah. Well, I'd be keen. So, Jake, yeah, we'll get on to Jacob. But before we go, I'm really keen. I'm doing a lot of work at the moment, listening to drummers play with tracks, and I'd be keen. What's your approach to click track? Because I find that playing along with the track, the people aren't there and they're not reacting to you and stuff. And so, what? How's that going? Does Moises have the ability to pop?
There's a smart click, so it analyzes the tempo and it's flexy and stuff.
Yeah, it's unreal.
That is incredible. Something I was thinking about, Jakos, was that Pete and I have used tracks a lot. Sometimes, and you'll recall that we would record ourselves in multi-track, so that if somebody was away, we could just dip in their recording on the multi-track and stuff as we got through HSC and we started to get our bespoke arrangements down. And so we would play along with ourselves. But then also, I think there's just so much scope for starting with the track and then somebody saying, oh, I could probably play the bass on that. And then this gives us the option to go, oh, yeah, okay, we'll mute the bass track. And you don't have to go, oh, man, imagine if this goes south and then we've got the HSC on the line here. It's like, okay, because we always talk about, don't we, Pete, protect the downside. And then, like, what's the worst thing that can happen? I play the drums with Moises. And then you can go, what's the best thing that can happen? And shoot for the whatever planet you want to shoot for. So I think that's really interesting. And then if you've got a trio in your school, you can use that trio, right, as your bed tracks, as your rhythm section tracks, and then build out a lush. And that's something that Pete and I did so much. Oh man, it was so hard. Like we'd go, there's a stem. We can play with this. We can have the third keyboard player. Yeah, but now you just do it. So that's fascinating.
I know what you're saying, Jakos, about the artifacts that you'd get, and you still kind of get them. Say if you're like trying to isolate the vocals or like guitars, you still get the artifacts in those. But the drum tracks are quite good. Fine.
Yeah, except Jakos is getting rid of the drum tracks.
Oh yeah, that's true. So occasionally you'd get like a cymbal in there and stuff, but probably doesn't matter because you got drums going over the top of it anyway.
Yeah, and it's good enough to be eligible for the HSC is kind of part of my box I'm trying to tick.
Because circa 2020, you'd be stuck at karaoke.com or whatever it was, and just those backing tracks which are super naff and straight rather than the original track.
Yeah. Can I just say that I'm old enough that this magic, right, back in the day on the back page of the music magazines was a man saying, you can get this beautiful wooden box, had wooden bits on the end, and we'll send it to you from America in the mail, and you can plug your cassette recorder into it, and it might remove something. And it's only $1 million. So, holy smokes. I can't, And anybody who's been teaching at any point up to now, it's just far out, man, the potential. And I think also, Jakos, it must imagine like you go, all right, I want to play this song, and you can right now. And so your drummer can be practicing, slow down the track, speed it up, whatever the heck, practicing with the actual track, while even if you have musicians in the class, they can't play it yet, but the drummer needs to be practicing right from the get-go. So you go, I want to play that song, kapow, here's a backing track, 1, 2, 3, 4. And so when it comes time, the other people are doing the same thing. When it comes time to bring the band together, they're coming from this incredible position where everybody's had, right from the start, had the opportunity to play along music -1. So your bass player's practicing, your drummer's practicing. It's just really, yeah, the affordances, I think, for music education are off the charts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about its role in composition as well. If you just flick over to my screen, Google have just opened up the AI test kitchen where you can test their latest products and then give them feedback as well. So you can sign up and pretty much like you'll wake up the next day and get access. It's that type of setup. So it's not immediate, but you'll get access pretty quickly. And they've got this Music LM, and right now it's a text to audio, but I think they're working on melody to audio or just like everything to audio. I think you could, like, they even got one where you could drop a picture, so someone could drop an artwork and it'll turn it into a piece of music, which is pretty amazing. So Google's on it, and I've played with these a fair bit, but this one seems to be the best, where it's like just describe the piece of music. So I was thinking about its role with Moises, and potentially what you could do is, so you got a piece of music that you're inspired by, the reference track. You could then drop a link to that in ChatGPT or something that analyzes music for you and say, give us the tempo, time signature, instrumentation, whatever. And then you could put that as the description to the analysis into this LM by Google. So say it was 96 BPM, give us a time signature JCOS.
What was that? Sorry. Oh,
Can
you
you
want
give us-
time?
Yeah.
98.
Good choice.
What style, Jacob?
Oh, prog rock, I guess.
Yes.
It's 9/8.
I thought you were going to go with reggae, which seems to be something that we seem to go for reggae.
Oh, yeah, you've done that before, yeah.
And maybe Moz in the chat, you could give me a suggestion as well. Once the stream catches up, I'll look at your comment.
Yes.
And Brad, can you give us maybe some instrumentation?
I think, how do you do that? Is like individual instruments?
Let's try. This is fresh for me.
Okay, I think let's have it on the, I think an organ. Let's just go organ.
Okay, so organ feature.
Morrissey's here, by the way, and so Pete shared that link to the Ableton. Yeah, it's right there. It's not even a secret. You can just go to the website.
Well, I think that's the record, compilation of all their previous ones as well.
Cool. Hello, Morrissey.
And then something that you could think about is even like the harmony. So it could be like what key, and so
Yeah, right.
you know, if we see
D minor.
D minor.
Saddest of all keys.
And
That's a shout out.
in the style, I'm not sure if you say if you go in the style of I don't know what you could, like Taylor Swift. I think that breaks it. So you're not allowed to specify anyone in particular.
Okay. All right.
Thin to heavy texture by Moz. All right. And
I'll bring that up.
Love it.
Thin to heavy texture. Whoa.
Are you saying you get a piece of music analyzed and then from the ChatGPT analysis put it into this and see if it recreates the same song?
That's what I'm currently. I've got a note on my phone with AI music copilot, and maybe developing it as well into an actual product. But something that could help you in the composition process from like idea and analysis all through to little ideas, and then actually getting into the door as well. And so, yeah, that would be the concept of like analysis in ChatGPT, generate some ideas in a text to audio thing or whatever to audio, and then. So let's have a listen. First of all, can you hear this, Brad?
Yes, I heard it before. Yep.
Here we go.
That's interesting. So it's wigging out, internet wigging out a little bit,
Okay,
but we get the gist.
let's go track 2. Definitely 4/4.
But the second one was D minor though. The first one was like C minor or something.
Okay. So we only get one button for feedback in their test kitchen. So this little trophy.
Yeah.
So what do you think? which track won? That one at least it was in triple meter.
If I feel like going back to what you said before, Pete, it's like there's a poorly paid person that you press the button and someone yells out, "Quick, somebody press the button, play that one track we've got." And that doesn't seem, I've got a picture of a little dude somewhere, maybe he's got a patch bay, "Quick, play that one song that we've got rights for."
The AI minion.
Yeah. Speaking of,
I'm gonna pick number 1. So say if cool feedback, and then it's like download. You download it, and at least it's in some sort of triple meter, and then you drop it into Moises, and then you could split the tracks.
Okay.
You could change key into D minor, so that would help Jacob, and then you could export that into a DAW and start to compose a piece of music based upon AI generated starter kit.
Yeah.
And so that could help with riff generation, could help with chords, could help with grooves, could whatever. And that could be your AI co-pilot.
It really opens up plagiarism for a composition task. Like thinking about we've got a student at the moment he's our composition kid, and like he's legit, but I can imagine with the parameters we're working with him, you could definitely get inspired by an AI track, and then you're almost transcribing something that's been produced by AI to get your marks. And I guess my question is, like, how can you download that? How do they follow that it wasn't created by you and copyright and everything like that? Is that clearly set out at this stage?
No. Short answer, no.
Yeah.
I think everyone's scrambling. So I've got a YouTube video dropping any day now of the fight for over AI music, and everyone's in legal battle at the moment. And it kind of started with Drake and the Weeknd, and that the composer was called Ghostwriter, and dropped that, and that blew up the voice cloning thing, and that got shut down. So there's precedent there that you're not allowed to clone people's voice unless they've given you permission. Grimes went ahead and said anyone can use my voice, and you actually get 50% of royalties if it goes well. And then, but I think with instrumental stuff, it's really grey. And I think the same rules would apply because you can't steal melodies.
Okay.
Yeah. And even with samples and stuff, we often encourage them to tweak it until it is their own. So I think if you were getting it from Music LM from Google, then going into Moises, splitting the tracks, getting into a DAW, and then editing and chopping up, I think that's enough. That's getting towards original. Like it's probably a spectrum towards original for me.
Yeah, and the crazy thing, of course, is none of that would matter if you didn't notate it correctly anyway for HSC.
But surely
So-
that's the next AI. That's,
Yeah.
unless it's already out. I don't know. You guys would know, but that's, I could see that getting really close, because I remember when I showed you from that other school, I think it was a Fruity Loops track, and how when the MIDI got spat out in whatever program he used, how much of a mess it was. But there's already that, there's a bit of a foundation for that to happen, and add a bit of AI, it'll probably get really good and really close to that. And then it's like a brave new world. How do we even go forward fairly with who's doing what legitimately, and who's just on the pulse of the technology? I mean, this is kind of, you guys have gone deep into this, but yeah, it's really interesting, I think.
Yeah, I think that's why it's so important to slide into philosophy, right? Because these are big questions, and it comes to the core of what is creativity. And so that's another disambiguation that we could come to at some point, maybe season 15 or something. We can bust out creativity. Yeah, wow. What is music? Like if we look at our cascade of entailments, what is creativity is going to come. Our definition of creativity will have a cascade of entailments that has many forks. So yeah, really good, Jacos. That's interesting to go forward. Keep an eye on what's possible, and keep sliding into philosophy about just because it's possible doesn't necessarily mean it's good. And that's the role of philosophy, right? All right. Speaking of, but I'm aware that we put a pin in Jacob a little while ago about your Moises experience, and I'm keen to hear. But while you do that, where are we? I think we're still in Robot Roundup. Just if you've just joined us, hang on. If you've just joined us, I have studied broadcasting, by the way. If you've just joined us, we'd like to wish you a happy Festivus here from GBL, and this is a special end of season, end of year celebration. And so we're in Robot Roundup, and we have our co-hosts. Just below me is Jacob, and just below Peter is Jake Oss. And so we were just before we were talking about Moises, and part of the TPAC idea, which we've also talked about, is sure, there is technology, there's hardware and software, but our job as educators is to subvert what that software was manufactured to do to suit our purposes. And so, I'm interested in the technology as it is manufactured by the manufacturers, but it's much more important and what they think the affordances are. But the point is, what do we think the affordances are? How can we subvert the technology that's been invented for a specific purpose and make it work for our students? So that's why I'm interested to hear, not so much about the technology, but about how teachers are using it. So, Jacob.
Sorry, Jacob, before you go, I've had someone just rock up to my house, so I need to go. I just wanted to say goodbye, and I will watch the rest of this to hear the answer you're about to give. But yeah, thanks,
Amazing.
guys.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll keep a
Jacos.
square there for you, Jacos, in memoriam. Kind of like when you drink coffee from the GBL cup, there'll just be a little reminder of you.
Well, thanks,
Cheers.
guys. Sorry
Happy
to leave it.
Festivus.
All
Happy
good.
Festivus.
Catch you, Jacos.
All right.
So
what were you saying?
Moises, well, nothing crazy, but so similar to Jacos, yeah, great for drummers to be able to get rid of the drums and they can play along to that. Another one is just being able to really fine tune and learn parts by ear. But usually for me, what it was instruments would start masking each other, and you might miss a guitar line, for example, over a couple of bars because it's just caught beneath all these other instruments or that are masking all the same frequencies. So
Yep.
I've loved Moises for that, just as a little thing, because there might be. I'm very particular. If I want to learn a song, I want to learn it to the T as much as I can. So if there's a guitar part and I can't hear what's going on, now with Moises, a lot of the time, I can hear it and then go, oh, that's what's going on. There's like an acoustic that's happening under that, or, oh, I can hear that the bass is actually going here. Like it's that for me was a big thing. Also being able to like remix things at different volumes, even just very simply. So if a kid needed a backing track and I thought maybe one of the instruments was too loud, just drop it down. It's just like so effective. I feel like I have so much power being able to remix a song, you know,
Yeah.
even in a very basic sense.
Can I just?
So that's my Moises. I was going to think of some clever, some clever phrase, but that's my Moises mojo. Let's say.
Yes. Okay, I'll take that. Can I again? Can I just point out how old I am? And so back in the day, check this out. I think let's see if I can find myself again. This is what you had to do, man. The Akai or Akai U4 Compact Series phrase
I've never
trainer.
seen this. Yeah.
You could plug your cassette player in, and then here this is speed it up and slow it down. A B
Right.
in
Yeah.
out, and then you could cut frequencies and loop play, and holy smokes, I almost got divorced in my first year of marriage trying to learn Dry Cleaner from Des Moines, I think. Joni Mitchell with Jaco. No.
Oh,
In
nice.
France, They Kiss on Main Street. Almost got me. Yes. And I roar. And Al would yell out, "Can you stop that, please? That devil music." So amazing. Far out, man. That was incredible. So there you go. That's how hard it was. back in
Radical
the day.
tech, though. Like, because
that's
before that
wicked.
was LPs and slowing it down on the vinyl player and such, right? So
Yeah.
that was groundbreaking.
Yep. I just need to. Jacob, I'm not ignoring you.
No, I love it. I that is wicked cool. I
Holy
almost
moly.
wish I have that. Like, it'd be cooler to use that, I think, because it's more tangible and tactile. Like, computers all clicking, whatever. Give me a box that can do it.
Yeah, I still own it, and I used to check this out. Or talk about something else, and I'll see if I used to have a little Walkman-sized thing that I could plug my bass guitar into, and it was incredible. Yeah, so I had that, and so I could go anywhere and plug my rock and play into my freeze trainer and learn Jaco Pastorius bass lines. Changed everything. So yeah,
Amazing.
I'm so excited about this. I think too, Pete, be really exciting and interesting for GBLers to just look at what this means for stage 6 oral. I've been thinking about what Lucy Green's research talking about the underneath bits. When she talked to students about listening, they would say, well, there's the singing and then there's the underneath bits. And it seems that that's it. There's just this mud. And so I think it would be really interesting to think about how Moises we can subvert Moises to deal with the underneath bits and bring those to life for students and go, because when you go, okay, check that out. There's a shaker there's a nice little sizzle coming from the shaker in the right speaker. Huh? And it's so clear to us. A shaker? Or you go, yeah, check out, that sounds like a P bass. And it's coming in let's see how it's in the left speaker and sounds like, I don't know, there's a 80 hertz bump or something in the EQ. What the heck does any of that mean, And we can separate the tracks because we know what they sound like. And I guess Lucy Green's point was that when you play instruments, you get to hear what each one of those instruments sound like, which helps you with the underneath bits. But I think we've potentially got a revolution here because we can separate the underneath bits.
And it was always, Brad, let's open up the textbook and listen to the trombone solo, and it'll be one example.
Yeah.
And be like, here's an example of trombone playing 3/4 or whatever. And be like, okay, now let's go straight to the piece and analyze it. Can you hear the trombone? And be like, no.
Yeah.
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 Or it'd be like the difference between an alto sax and a tenor sax. It's like
Yes.
not many people can actually hear that. And so yeah, I think that's really exciting.
It's pretty cool.
That's really exciting.
It almost makes me
That's-
want to do whole class oral lessons.
Well, I think I'm going to have to use that now, to be honest, because I can't believe I hadn't thought of that already. Using it for the oral to like, for especially because at the moment I've just been setting them as weekly formative tasks. Or I've been doing oral every fortnight, but I hadn't thought to use it to actually split the tracks up and help those kids who are like, nah, don't know what's going on.
Can't hear it.
So I'm gonna use that. That is very effective. Thank you.
Yeah. Cool. It's the underneath bits, which feels to me like a Stranger Things metaphor. The underneath bits.
Yeah,
Nice.
kind of feels
Stand
like
by.
don't play the butter notes a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Feels like that.
Yeah. Cool.
Where are we up to with our Festivus rules, Brad?
So I think we're doing well. We're kind of on the miracles, aren't we, at the moment? So if you've just joined us, happy Festivus. And just like sliding into philosophy, when you're doing Festivus, there's rules. So we've been talking about point number 3, proclaiming our Festivus miracles, and Pete and I have been feasting on with our GBL cups. I don't know if we'll get to grievances. You know, I'm not that grievy. Perhaps you chaps are grievy, but
Well, I think
know.
Jacob's got some stuff to share.
Yeah. So why don't we get on with some hot links?
Hands down, that's one of the best transitions you've done yet.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
I had to press a lot of buttons on my Stream Deck to make that happen. Just say.
I said read a GIF as a text message about hot links because I was in a pub and I was selling hot links, and I sent him a GIF of just sausages coming out of a sausage maker. And he's like, "Do non-veg," because Brad's vegetarian for the record. He's like, "Do non-vegetarians find that disgusting as well?"
Yeah. I'm half tempted to present it on screen, except it's too disgusting. I don't want to be that guy.
All right. What do we got, Jacob? Any news, mate? Any hot links?
Any news? Yeah, so we did another Gaimir gig. Went really well. Had a lot of the same kids perform. Had some new ones come in, which was really cool. We are currently planning a Christmas concert with a lot of the vocal ensemble kids, and I'm going to get some of my elective kids to do some performances. I'm excited for that because I'm kind of running it this time. Last time we did our Kappa night, one of the other teachers sort of took the helm on that and did a great job. But this time around, she's got other stuff on, so she's not able to do it. So I have stepped up to take charge of that. I'm really keen to get things going, just organization and get the kids ready, hear their pieces, and just very keen to sort of run that. I think it'll be a good one to start off with because it's like, yeah, we did the Kappa night already, but as I said, I didn't really take the helm on that as much. So I'm very keen to kind of run the night, as it were.
That's really cool. And just for YouTube's sake, guys, we've been chatting with Jacob for the last term or so inside the community of practice. Brad, if we flip over to my screen, just like to show them that they can join the community of practice as well over at school.com/GBL Cop. And here is a little blurb. So I got some narcissistic news, is that my wife's doing an MBA, guys, and she's asking me questions about my business. and so Brad dropped this, what's the purpose of GBL community of practice? And what you've just been sharing about putting on gigs, Jacob, has been really inspiring for not only us, but the other community members as well. And just hearing how your students are getting fully pumped to play gigs. And that's wicked. And so our hope is that the GBL Cop and yes, COP members, which we call the GBL COPs, by the way,
Yes.
champions a shared approach to number one, pedagogy, an involving craft of classroom music teaching, shaping programs collaboratively developed, necessitating resources crafted and shared, prompting reflection, collectively undertaken, guiding further exploration of, back to pedagogy, enhancing the GBL COPS programs, demanding innovation of resources, inciting further reflection, and so on. This cycle is termed, we're pretty proud of this, the PPRR to infinity.
And beyond, TM.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll put and beyond there because we might be
Okay.
sued.
And then click join
Or
group
just
and
in
hop on the
copyright, yeah.
GBL COP train to infinity and beyond. I've got it there, Brad.
Oh, it's there. Okay, so we'll see how we go and see if Bob Iger or any of his Disney lawyers come looking for us.
Yeah, amazing. So that's really cool to hear, Jacob. And we just want to do a shout out to Ben, who's on the road down to Melbourne, I believe, and he was sad to miss it. And we've already seen Jacos today.
Yeah, and also Dr. James Henry Byrne, Humberstone FRSA GBL Soul Brother is in the UK, and so probably just waking up actually, and so we just want to shout out. He would have loved to have been here, but he's not. So all right, and then so hot links. Then what are your hot? So Jacob, you've got some hot links to share.
Yes, indeed. Do you want me to share my screen and I can go through it? Or, never mind.
Here's one I prepared earlier. Kapow.
Yeah. I just, quick aside, I love that phrase. It's such a good, just, here's one I prepared earlier. Love it.
Yeah,
so, Neil.fun, as I said to Brad and Pete before we got in, this is more of, I mean, it's not just music related, but great little way if, let's say it's the end of the week, it's the end of the day, you've got year 8, they've already done they've just done an exam maybe the day before, you need something to just quell them for a little bit. So there's a couple of fun little activities here. I haven't actually done the Internet Artifacts one, but I do like Draw a Perfect Circle or designing the next iPhone is great too. So this one, you as you can assume, you have to try and get. There we go.
Yes, Pete.
All right.
I don't think I'll be able to stop.
That's great.
That's addictive.
Yep.
You can, apparently it says at the bottom, you can tweet or X. I don't know what it is these days. You can tweet your score. Oh, okay. Starting.
Oh my goodness, guys.
Oh yes, you can't go too slow. You have to go.
That's so hard on a trackpad.
You upped it by 0.1%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's great. That's a good one.
I love it.
Kids get really fired up on perfect circles apparently. So design the next iPhone or asteroid launcher are quite fun too. Design the iPhone's great because you basically just select parts and you have to drag and drop them on the phone, and at the end it tells you how much it would cost. So let's say you need a bottom notch.
Yeah, more
and
notches,
a side
Pete.
notch.
Yeah.
Personally, if you go across on the items list, you'll be happy to see that they've included an original iPod click wheel as well.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
So you can
come
pop that on as well.
Another quick aside, a student brought in an iPod Nano today, which was quite fantastic to see. I haven't seen one of those in a good 10 years or so.
Yeah.
Googly eyes are essential.
Yeah.
Some student has gone and stuck a whole bunch of them on my whiteboard. So this is just silly fun,
Cool.
rotary tile if you fancy.
Nice.
And
okay,
so then once you hit present.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, if you hit present,
Eight,
all new
25.
iPhones starting at 8.
Isn't just an upgrade.
You've got no back cameras.
Breakthrough.
No back cameras, Pete. There you go.
Yeah, I'm minimalistic.
Tim Cook. Would have been great to have Craig come in as well. we love here at GBL. Craig,
Craig.
if you're watching, we love you so much. Craig Federici.
It's
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
What else
that's
you got?
a great one. So yeah, plenty of apps on there. Now this basically a wonderful vocal quartet featuring a ridiculously ridiculous low bass singer. So oh yes, off George Collier's channel, who does
Yeah,
lots of
tell-
great transcriptions. Yeah, so just different kind of musical things. That's the best way I can describe it. So live videos or maybe music videos, really cool licks on an instrument. George Collier is a champion and transcribes a whole bunch of it.
Cool.
So not only do you get a really great bass singer here, you also get to see exactly how it's charted out. So
Yeah,
I'm
nice.
gonna use the YouTube feature of
The
where do people
algorithm.
listen, and let's listen to a little bit. Whoa, he goes to a different
yeah,
dimension. That's
he
amazing.
goes. The lowest he hits is, I think it's definitely a C.
Yeah.
But it's a real, yeah, it's down there. My goodness.
George
I
Collier.
love.
Hit
Isn't that
subscribe,
awesome that
guys.
they've got the bass guy and the high guy, and it's as low as you can go and as high as you
Oh
can go.
yeah,
all in the-
credit to the rest of them too. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But I think the kids, especially with the puberty title, they think they get a kick out of that. So and then you watching their faces as soon, even when he hits the first like low E flat, and then when he gets to that C, oh boy, they freak out. It's cool.
Yeah, cool. So there's lots to get from George, and isn't it?
George
That-
has a lot of great stuff. Yeah.
What an engaging way to get into range and talking about different voices and such. That's a really cool, engaging way to get that conversation started for sure. Hooray! Well, that's a couple of solid links. I think that's from the sublime to the ridiculous, but I'm not sure which way there. That's really cool.
The first popular video there is definitely of the more ridiculous nature.
Okay.
You don't have to watch it now, but definitely do yourselves a favor and check that one out at some point.
So it's called When You're Overqualified for the Job? Is that, yeah. Excellent.
And I noticed he's got 768,000 subscribers, comparable to our 500 and one. We got an extra subscriber today. So
did we? Yeah,
cross the 500 barrier. It's all up from here, guys.
Yeah. Can you just show our channel just to prove it, Pete? Just while you're doing that, just if you're wondering, this is the Gig-Based Learning Weekly Jam final. This is our breakup party, and this is Happy Festivus. And we've just been working our way through the Festivus rules, and I think we've done a pretty good job. I'm not sure. I think maybe the feats of strength would be how long can you stay on a YouTube live stream, and I think we've done pretty well. You have to be pretty strong to pull that off. Mentally tough. All right, cool. Oh yeah, did you find our YouTube? Did you find our YouTube channel, Pete?
I did, Brad.
Okay, let's have a look. Whoa, dark theme. There it is in glorious black and white. So I think it's important to mention it's kind of like dog years to human years, right? We're doing classroom music education, and we've got 500 people, which I think that's like 5 million, isn't it?
Surely.
If if you're
Yeah.
doing makeup videos or something.
Yeah.
So every teacher's worth like $1 million,
Let's go with that.
because let's
So
face
you
it,
gotta be pretty dedicated.
ain't nobody got time for that. Well, you could be watching funny videos instead of talking about music teaching. So shout out, thanks everyone. Thanks to 501 subscribers. That's pretty special, and I'm not kidding. It's really cool. Some people never get to interact with 500 people, right? And just thinking about going back to how old I am back in the day, the idea of an audience of 500, holy smokes, that was a big deal. So I'm very grateful, and hopefully it helps. It certainly helps us, Pete, right?
Mm.
Helps a lot. Okay,
Yeah.
and so I'm very happy. So that's our Festivus miracle, is that 500 people and one have subscribed. It's really good. Okay,
Thing.
well, I've run out of segments. So
Yeah.
have we run
They're
out of...
going to lock the gates on me soon, so I'm going to have to vamoose very shortly.
Yeah. All right. So I'll play the outro then, shall I? Well, just if you're usually at this time in the show, we'd probably go to our FAQQQ. But we've been pretty good today, and I think we've done pretty well
I think
there.
is Moz still around? I think Moz might be around.
Whoa.
Has he got any more comments for us?
Oh yeah.
Surely.
Oh yeah. FAQQ. Moz says, "Far out, this guy's bass voice." Now, speaking
Yeah,
of,
man.
if you've ever met Morrissey, he has one of the most mellifluous voices. I think Morrissey can get down pretty low there as well. Shout out to Morrissey's bass voice. Hooray! Thanks. Thanks. Holy smokes, Morrissey, you made it this far. That is dedication. So that was FAQQ, and in case you were wondering, this has been the final weekly jam for the gig-based learning community of practice. There's a link at the bottom. It's called gigbasedlearning.com, and then there's a vertical line, and it says school.com, and that's where we'd love you to go to join our community of practice, which is going to be pretty quiet until term 1 next year, but why not get in? We might not be there in real life, but it's asynchronous, and so there's just so much material. So we're going to spend the whole next little while making new courses, asynchronous courses in our online community, and dealing with so much of the discussion we've had this year, which has spurred us to think about the next steps and such.
Share my screen, Brad. I'm gonna just some narcissistic news. So this
Yes.
is our video editor. So we've got about 22-minute video edits to get through, and we're dropping these edits inside the community for our GBL coppers. Coppers,
Right.
all cops. I'm just going to drop coppers from now on. I think that's better. And this is our AI editor, FYI. So this is good for teachers as well to know about. Is that now you have tools such as this, which is called Descript, which you can grab for free on a trial, and it automatically transcribes and automatically does things like remove filler words and shorten word gaps and stuff like that, and even knows when I'm speaking and when Brad is speaking, stuff like that. So it's pretty cool, and our job for the next, I guess, the whole summer is to just go bananas with live courses that people can access, not live, but anytime they want, self-paced courses. And so this is what we'll be doing. So join our community of practice for asynchronous chat, and also access to courses now and into the future.
So on that note, why don't we thank you, Jacob. You've been amazing, amazing community member this season, and it's been so great to get to know you, and so exciting to hear about your work. So happy Festivus on behalf of Pete and I, and we hope that you just have the best Festivus and holiday break and come back fresh as ready to smash music education next year. So thanks again for being part of our community, and thanks for being in our last show, Festivus, for this week. Hooray.
Thank you. Thanks for everything, guys. It's been amazing. It's been such a good time, and I'm keen to get back at it once
Excellent.
again.
All right. See you
All right.
in the weekly jam next year in term 1. And all right, so you can make a proper TV getaway. I'll go back to a Brad and Pete screen, and then you can do whatever the heck you need. Run to the gate. Boy, I used to do that a lot when I was a boy.
All good.
All right. All the best.
Yeah.
Take care.
See you, Jacob.
Take care.
All right, Peter. And then there were 2. And
That's it.
gee, there was a lot of Stream Deck pushing today. OMG.
Pushing new limits for sure.
I got 2 pages on it because I've only got what I think it's called the 15 button Stream Deck. I've just got the 15 button, so I've had to go to page 2, and there's a lot of action on page 2 today.
Maybe for Christmas you could get another Stream Deck for your foot.
Yep. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like you open up you'd go down a rabbit hole there. Before you know it, you're one of those 15 Stream Deck dudes. Yeah, which I could be very easily. Okay, so that was really good. So if we go back to your Mac, the whole point is to just try to encourage people to join us, right?
Yeah.
And it was so the thing that I loved about today was, sure, I talked a lot. It's all part of getting older. But I didn't talk all the time. And the more people we get, the less talking you and I do, right? And the more community and the more dialogic this becomes. But it's very hard to be a community.
Just going to flick over to...
It's very hard to be a community if there's nobody here.
Yeah.
So, there we go. So let's jam. And wouldn't it be amazing if for Festivus next year we have to make lots and lots of squares because there's lots and lots of GBL cops coming in to talk about the wonderful work that they're doing and getting through the rules of Festivus.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and something that we be doing is just breaking up this live stream into something that we can talk about post-show as well. So even if you come as a free member, you get access to anything that we do with text chats and even free courses and stuff. And so something to think about is, hot links segment, a chance to share your own hot links with us and the community, and doing that in a way that's on record. And the beautiful thing about our community is that we can actually filter by like topics and stuff. And so maybe I'll just log into the community and help us to just show underneath the hood a little bit in case people are on the fence about joining. But yeah, essentially our dream is that we're helping each other just by constantly sharing links. But you can do that on Facebook. It's just in a more structured way and a bit more collaborative approach to everything. So let me go entire screen.
Yeah, fortunately, that's not the complete and utter offer. We've got a little bit more up our sleeve. And I think something that maybe the difference between us telling you how to do stuff, we've heard some stuff around the traps where people go, I'm already doing great work. I know lots of stuff about lots of stuff. They haven't got anything for me. Correct. Except we've got an opportunity for you to contribute. And
yes,
holy smokes. So it turns out Pete and I know lots of stuff too, but we don't know everything. And so, and we are also looking for a reason to get out of bed in the morning. And this, joining creating the GBL community of practice has been so rewarding and refreshing for us. So if you're thinking, I already know lots of stuff, just really encourage you to join the community and just give what you've got, and watch out. You'll find it very helpful. And before you know it, you might just think, hey, I am getting a fair bit out of this after all. And so this is what's going on. Look at that.
Yeah, and the idea behind this is that you access free pedagogy programs and resources. And key thing here, Brad, is contribute to the PPR to infinity through collegial reflection. And that collegial reflection is the key part. It's not us broadcasting to people. It's we're doing it together, and get to know Brad, Pete, and the GBL practitioners. We should change that to GBL cops. I apologize. And so the idea behind this is that we could filter through the FAQQ. All right, Brady Goji. So talking about Brad's blog or blogcast, as we're talking about. Hot links, which we've only just created these categories because we thought it would be a good idea. Narcissistic news. So today was join the live stream. Robot roundup when we talk about AI, and there's more. The weekly jam and all. So and then it's nice little interface that people can comment and reply with GIFs and all sorts of things that you see on other platforms as well. And thanks, Moz, for introducing himself and sharing some tracks to listen to. I enjoy that.
That's really cool. All right. Holy smokes, what a year, Peter David Orenstein. That's been incredible. Well, just before, because this is our breakup party, I just want to thank you for being my buddy. I don't use that word. I don't know where that came from, but thanks for being my friend and colleague for over 10 years, in the trenches, day in, day out. And you know stuff about me, and you just hang around. You've seen me at my best and my worst. And holy smokes, similar for me and you, except I don't know that you don't seem to have any bad days. So
Me, I have like different Pete's. I've got Party Pete, um, probably Country Pete. So I come into work like a bit lazy, apathetic about the world. I just want to like just push the tractor or something, ride the tractor and get all the cotton in or something. But yeah, I just want to thank you as well, and just acknowledge to the world that it's been a massive year for you, finishing off your PhD, and you're officially Dr. Brad Fuller. So I thought that should be celebrated, and actually just good news for everybody else because you're in this position to share what you've learnt and what you're learning, and other people are now able to join in on that through the community. So I'm really excited about the future and Dr. Brad and what he has to offer us in the community.
it's kind of the model, right? You and me, it's what we do. We get excited about stuff. We talk to each other about it, and we talk with young people, and now we're talking about it with other teachers. So the community starts here, and it's just not very fun unless you've got people to do it with. So thanks, Pete. Thanks for being somebody to go on a journey. To be on the train is what we say at GBL. Thanks for being on the train with me. And so this has been the last weekly jam for the term and for the year. And so we want to wish you a happy Festivus. And that's about it for today. So if it's all right with you, Pete, I'm going to play the GBL. Well, I'm going to hit a button. What I'm expecting to happen is the GBL outro, and we'll see what happens after that. All right. Please join the community, and we'll be there via text over the next few months, and we'll see you in term 1 next year. Thanks for watching, and thanks for being a part of something really bloomin' cool. Bye for now.